So as a reminder, there's only like 13 minutes or so left in the show. We'll be going to dinner after the show's over at El Arroyo. Any atheist or atheist-friendly person is welcome to come. You don't have to be a member to attend almost any of our events. But if you're coming down to preach, proselytize, or provoke, please don't. Just pick up the phone or pen an email.
Give us a call instead.
Yeah. So we've got Caesar in Queens. How are you?
Hello. Do you guys remember me? This is my fifth time calling on this show.
I remember you.
Yeah, I remember you. How you doing?
You're the...
Awesome. That was like almost a year ago I called, but decided to call. You know, it's been a while, and I like arguing with you guys because I don't have any friends who are atheists, so I like to give it a shot.
Sure.
So basically, I have I always had this original argument for myself. Like I thought about it. It came to me years ago. Basically, when I remember it happened when I was walking to my junior high school. So this was like over 15 years ago. I'd like to try it out. It's kind of unusual, and I won't blame you if you don't understand or it doesn't make any sense to you. Would you like to hear it?
Sure, thanks. Yeah, but try and do it as quickly as you can because we are running low on time.
Okay. Basically, this came to me, I don't know why. I wasn't really provoking any thoughts or anything. It just came to me, just hit me out of the blue. Basically, the argument goes like this. In order to be self-aware, you know, you have a self-awareness right now, obviously. All human beings do. And basically, in order to have your self-awareness, it has to be eternal. Like, you can't... it has to be unbroken. Like it has
why?
to be forever going.
Why?
Because, like, this, in order to know that you're self-aware, like, it has to be unbroken. It has to be an unbroken chain. I'm not talking about memories or amnesia.
Caesar?
Like,
babies become self-aware around the age of 2. So how is it unbroken if they become self-aware and they're not self-aware before the age of 2?
No, I know it doesn't have to do with memories, like, or the development of the brain. Like, I know the argument. Yeah, I know what you're saying. You're not self-aware at such a young age, but that's if you
okay,
don't...
so how is that eternal if it didn't exist at one point?
No, well, obviously, I'm assuming it did because I believe, you know, I believe in...
What's the justification?
In God and Christianity. So
sure.
Obviously, it did exist before. Now,
Caesar,
I know I can't prove that to you. I don't have evidence for that.
Okay, Caesar, if you're going to believe something because you already believe in a God and use that as evidence for God, that's called circular reasoning, and there's no point in having a discussion if you're going to begin with the presupposition that a God exists in order to prove that a God exists.
Yeah, but that's not my only reason. I have other reasons.
Well, why don't you give us your best reason?
All right, I have my top 3 is the finely tuned universe, Jesus, and the near-death experience.
Okay, well, the universe isn't finely tuned. You have no evidence that Jesus existed, and near-death experiences are hooey. There you go.
Yeah, but you speak with that with certainty. Like, if you're so, like, if there's no evidence that God exists, why even bother doing the show? Why even allowing...
Because the harm of religion exists.
I tell you what, if you believed in magical pixies that created the universe and there was no evidence to support this, and I felt that your beliefs were harmful to yourself and to others, wouldn't it be a good thing for me to try to educate people about that?
Yeah, but...
there's no but. There's no but.
Intelligence created the universe.
Well, I know you believe that, Caesar. I know you believe that. What we're asking for is why. Why should anybody, why should anybody believe that?
Okay, first of all, with a fine-tuned, you know, I don't want to get into these arguments because they're going to take so much time, but I have two scientific reasons why I'm not an atheist, and one of them is because I believe life only comes from life, and I also believe that language is always a product of a mind. Now, that is scientific. That is not
I'll agree with
to believe.
Caesar, I'll agree with you that language comes from mind. And I'll disagree with you on life always comes from life, because we know that life can arise from non-living matter. We don't exactly know how it happened in this particular instance, but we know that it can occur. Both John Oro's experiments, the Miller-Urey experiments, things like that, demonstrate that living material can come from non-living material. So set that one aside, and I'll agree that language comes from a mind.
All right.
But we're not Christians.
About the language from the mind. I'll let that slide with the life from life. I don't agree with you, but all right, let's concentrate.
Then you're wrong.
On the language from the
mind.
mind.
No, you're just scientifically wrong.
You don't have an objection.
Sure, that's why I said go with the language one, because on the other one, you're just scientifically wrong. I mean, you just...
I'll give you that. All right, I'll argue about that. All right, so...
Sure.
All right, so my argument with the language from the mind thing.
Yes.
You know that life needs information. It needs a blueprint to
DNA
work,
is DNA.
We know
Caesar.
this from DNA and all that,
Caesar.
right?
Caesar. DNA is not a language, and if that's your argument, we're done.
DNA is not a language?
That's correct. It's chemicals.
What's
it's a purely.
Definition of a language? Is language only from two minds,
yes.
two human beings? Or
yes. A language is the product of a mind. It allows communication from one mind to another.
Animals have language, right?
Sure, animals have forms of language.
Exactly, but in order for you to refute my thing with the DNA stuff, is that you have to presuppose that no intelligence created it.
No, I don't have to presuppose that, Caesar. I don't have to presuppose that. What I'm saying is that you have to demonstrate that it required an intelligence, and calling it a language doesn't accomplish that, because it's not a language. It doesn't communicate from one mind to another. It's chemical interactions that follow the physical laws of nature. The fact that it's the building blocks of life, that it is often viewed as a blueprint or an instruction set, that's at the cell level. That has nothing to do with minds, and it's not a language, and you don't get to invent a God by merely asserting that it is a language.
Yeah, well, so you're saying that the language of DNA is the actual chemicals? It doesn't have information, that's like saying ink on the ink on the book is the actual language.
No, I'm saying it's not a language.
It's not a language. The chemicals itself is not a language. Chemicals
Correct.
are just chemicals.
Correct. The fact
Right.
that the chemicals are not a language, what they do also isn't a language. Their interactions are pure chemical interactions governed by the laws of physics. The fact that they produce things doesn't make it a language. The fact that this is about, somebody has conned you with this idea of information, which is a big fuzzy word that makes it sound all important. It's not. It's not information in the same context. That's an equivocation fallacy. The fact that that there are self-reproducing proteins that build people does not mean that it's a language, and does not mean that they contain information in the same context that a book contains information. The information that we see, or what we would identify as information coming from the genetic code, is something that we imbue it with. It is our understanding that produces that information.
Because we have minds that can decipher information.
Not decipher.
You're saying that inanimate objects, chunks of matter, have the ability to decipher information without a mind.
No, that's my point. That's my point, Caesar. They're not deciphering anything. They're just doing whatever the physical laws of the universe dictate. It's an entirely physical process, the copying of DNA. There's no deciphering. There's no decision-making. There's no, hey, I should probably do this. This thing here says I need an A, so let me get an A.
When I say decipher, I don't mean think about it. I mean read it. It has to read.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't read, because reading implies a mind that is thinking about it. It doesn't read. It just does. DNA copies it. DNA copies. That's it. It's an action. It's a physical action. There's no awareness there. There's no consciousness. And if there were, it would need to be proved, not asserted.
Okay, so basically you're telling me that there is no information in DNA.
Not in the sense that you're wanting to say that there's information, no.
So in what sense is there information in DNA then?
There's information in the sense that we can look at what happens there and show how that progresses, and we can determine which building blocks will do which things. But that is us looking at the end product and backtracking to say, this is what caused this. It's a causal relationship. It's not a language.
It's understanding the mechanism, right.
I mean, it's the equivalent, I would guess, of saying that a gear in a clock has information because certain gears at certain ratios will change time at change the handles on the clock at a different rate.
It's mathematical. An engineer, you can't use these examples of clocks because you're invoking intelligent design.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry that you don't get that, but what I'm saying is that there's no information intrinsic in the gear of a clock or in DNA.
Exactly. Information is not from matter.
You can't say exactly. You can't say exactly. Caesar, you can't say exactly and then disagree with me.
I can't disagree with you?
You can't say exactly and then disagree with me.
No, because we have a fundamental misunderstanding.
Yes, one of us understands science.
I believe that information is completely, matter and information are two completely separate things.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Matter and information are two completely separate things.
Exactly.
And now the show is over. The credits are up. Thanks to the crew. I apologize that we have run out of time. I'll talk to Caesar if he's still around after the show's over. We'll be back next week. Thanks, Don. Sorry you didn't get to jump in on.
No, my pleasure.
On the conversation.
You're doing great. You're doing great all by yourself.
See y'all next week.
The content of this video is produced by the Atheist Community of Austin, a nonprofit educational organization promoting positive atheism and the separation of church and state. If you enjoyed this content and are willing and able to provide a donation, please visit the website below.